Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Beyond Haunted Vermont. My name is Paul Doski, and joining us is a special guest where we met sort of for like maybe, 5 minutes or something, Chris, from Kinderhook Library, because at the time you had went to go do your speech, and by the time you were done, we had to leave. So it's like, well, that sucks. But nonetheless, with the amount of time we got a chance to shake hands and listen to your story and learn about your Netflix show, which real quick, we'll just show right now the True Haunting series on Netflix that you guys can watch right now. It's like 3 episodes. There's 5 total, but the first 3 episodes all involve what we're about to talk about a little bit tonight, because there's so much going on that I don't think we have all the time in the world to really get through it tonight, Chris. So anyway, Chris, D. Cesare.
That's right.
Okay. All right. And by the way, people, again, we got Ryder here, so I'm gonna just make sure that if you guys see something that for the one watching the video, it's not a demon or a ghost or something. It's just my cat who's gotta be with me in the office. So without further ado, Chris, first off, before we really continue, I guess what I want to know is, before your incident here, were you like into the paranormal? Were you curious about it? Did you not want nothing to do with it? Like, how did it really begin?
I didn't like it at all as a kid. There's a show called The Munsters, and that scared me. So it wasn't my thing. So no, I didn't pursue it. I didn't like it. I didn't watch any scary movies. I like baseball, ice cream, things like that, running, but no interest whatsoever. I mean, you all sometimes wonder what it's like if you die. I mean, are there things afterwards you wonder sometimes, but nothing that I was looking forward to understanding better or having to have such a scary experience. So I guess when things began to happen, I was totally unprepared. I didn't know what to do, where to go, and actually what was even happening. I remember thinking to myself, when I first started hearing and seeing things, I wondered to myself, does someone put drugs in my food? Is there like a gas leak in the room? Is it somebody hypnotized me? I didn't know it. Is it a practical joke? I'm having a nervous breakdown. I mean, I was trying to find logical or scientific causes for the things that I and then later others would hear and see. And then after a time, I realized there's one thing that I couldn't cross out, and that was the paranormal, and that really surprised me.
Right. Yeah. I know when we were at the event, you had the original picture, I'm assuming,
yes,
of what was captured by your buddy Jeff during that time frame. And like, you probably don't have it near you, which is fine, but like for those that may not have a chance to either watch it or whatever, but how would you describe this photograph real quick?
It's in the room. It's off to my left over here, but the image was interesting. Jeff, my friend who lived next door, always liked the idea of maybe there being something more than just mundane things. As a small child, he watched shows like In Search Of, and that's incredible, and he was hoping to be something cool beyond the normal. And by the time I got to college, he was thinking, I don't know if anything really is real. I can't prove anything, And then, so when I came running into the room saying, oh my God, I saw a ghost. What? He didn't judge me. He thought, my gosh, this kid who I know, he's a pretty cool guy, and he runs a lot, and he's telling me there's a ghost across that wall. I check this out. So he was really enthused to try to get some evidence or see if he could track anything down. So, I agreed to go back in the room with him against my better judgment, and he wanted to get some photographs. And one of the pictures you showed, actually, the one photograph of the Netflix show with my hands out like this. He said to me, when you go in the room, call the ghost. I'm like, what do you mean call the ghost? It's like, hello, operator. I didn't know what to do. He said, no, just put your hands out like this, and you say, it's me, give him your name, and say, I want to talk to you. I'm like, this is crazy. So I did what he said, and he said, well, let's give it a name. I'm like, I don't know what his name is. And so we called it Tommy, just because I had a parakeet named Tommy. And that was it. And so my head's like this. All of a sudden, the closet door begins to shake. It opens. I'm thinking, no way. And I see this face, this person type of thing in the back of the closet, like misty. It gets very cold in the room. And so Jeff, by the way, was taking notes. He was taking notes on things. He put a fish tank thermometer so he could gauge the air temperature. He was like ready his whole life for something like this to happen. But he didn't see the closet open. So I said to him, take the picture, I meant take the picture of the closet of the ghost, but he saw me with my arms out and my sleeves are blowing back, my shirt's blowing back, the cardboard's bending. He's like, oh my gosh. So he took a picture of me with the effect of this thing on the room, like that. And so then I don't know if the flash cube on the camera or him yelling frightened the ghost or made it angry, but it came right out of the closet towards me, went through my body and through the room. I'm like, oh my God, that's it. I'm done. I'm out of here. So Jeff said to me, do me a favor. Tell me where it is before you go. So I looked up and I saw the thing, this ghost, above my bed by my pillow. I'm like, there it is. Where? I'm like, the dead thing is the ghost. What dead thing? Jeff, the dead guy looking at us. He's the ghost. Take his picture. I don't see it. Like, how could you not see it? It's right there. So Jeff said, if you can see it, take the camera, you get the picture. So I raised this camera up, a 35mm, went off the camera, took the picture, and I ran. And that's the picture that came out with this human skeleton right where I pointed. You see the rib cage, the sternum, the spine, the hip bones, the pelvis, the clavicle. Bizarre. And so for Jeff, it was a great thing because now we have evidence that there's something that's there. But for me, I don't want more evidence. I want this thing to go away. And I was afraid the more we interacted with it, the more we spoke to it or encountered it, the more it would stay. So we were kind of at odds that way. He would say explore. I'm like, no, get rid of it. And so it was a very fascinating dynamic. In the end, he tempered his pursuit of information knowledge for my sake because I was suffering through a lot of attacks and things. And I began to see his viewpoint of saying it is actually valid to show something is there beyond just my experience. So we're teenagers. We became this very tight-knit, friendship, almost like brothers from this hardship.
Right. Yeah. When Tessa and I were at the Kinderhook thing and we saw it, it was like immediately right away you could see it, like because I'm trying to remember that day. Like I know with photos being in a frame and you got some shade and some light, which that was a pretty nice warm day anyway. Yes. But like even with all the weather being nice and glares and stuff, but you still could see it in that frame, which was nice because one of the things I think is, and I think we'll touch on possibly, is you need that evidence in order for somebody to clarify what is exactly going on.
This is the black and white version of it. I don't know if you can see here in the book, but this is a black and white version. I'll go this way. And you can see this is a runner, a poster. And over here you can see the pelvis, the rib cage, the spine going up the human skeleton right here.
Oh, yeah. It is a little bit hard to see it, but I could see it because I've already seen it.
Right. So, it stands out. You can't miss it. Even if you're looking at the picture for other reasons, say, hey, what's that? Right away, it's like something's not right with that picture. And it's right. And then Jeff had consulted with the anatomy book, and he was able to label all the bones. Like, oh my gosh. And so that was pretty fascinating. And, we agreed not to tell anybody because I didn't want people to know this was happening. I wanted to keep this under the table. But Jeff really, he wanted to get feedback on that. What do you think? And so he began to show people the photograph to see if they thought, if it's the same thing or not. And that caused a pressure for me because some people come with the ghost boy. Things became out of hand, and it changed our whole relationship. But I understand because even today, if someone says, listen, I got a secret. Ronnie's pregnant. What? Shh, don't tell anybody. I won't. I'm like, Ronnie's pregnant. And then, guess what I just heard? What? Don't tell anybody. Ronnie's pregnant. If it's exciting news, you kind of break your word and just tell it because it's so exciting. And I think in that moment, I don't think he was trying to hurt my feelings or break our trust. He was so amazed that we had this skeleton, this image, right where I pointed, right where the air was going to, right where I said it was. And there it was on the photograph. And, back then we didn't have cell phones. You would take the shot, you would take the film roll, send it away to be developed, or go to like a photo mat in the mall, and pay the money, and you'd get it back later, and you'd look back and see what you have, and sometimes it's your thumb. Other times you get something amazing like we saw on that photograph.
Right, and I'm glad you kind of touched on cameras and stuff for a second, and cell phones, obviously. So I before this chat, even today when I had like a couple minutes, which was, so my curiosity again, because it's just been a while in general, was when was the first time we had like digital cameras, right?
Yeah.
So I looked that up. I was just like, just because of curiosity and because of your timeline, which this stuff that happened in your dorm of C2D1
Yes.
in Erie Hall, or that came in like later into play, I forget. Anyway, I have so many notes here, it's gonna all blend together and stuff like that. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at is I learned the first digital camera was 1975,
Right.
but that wasn't commercial.
No.
That was like a whatever, like a test or something. I'll just say for the example here. By 1989, which would have been, let's just say, 4 years after.
Yeah.
And you know, so that just goes to show we can right now eliminate for the skeptics saying, well, what is it, digital cameras? So what your friend Jeff had was a legit camera with film.
It was a Minolta 35 millimeter camera, and you'd have to buy film for it to wind it. He only had so many shots. I think he had 24 images. And then once that's done, then you took it out and you put in the tube and you either mailed it away to Rhode Island and you get 2 4x6s, or you went to the, like I said, the photo mat, the place in the mall parking lot. That's how it was. We didn't get the pictures back. Those pictures were taken on Valentine's Day. We didn't get them back because Jeff went with his family on vacation until I think March. So it took 2.5 weeks to get the pictures back. So we didn't even know. I mean, we didn't know we would have anything on there. But when he came back from vacation, look at the pictures, he goes, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing!" So it's and I didn't want to see them at first because I don't want to remember of this thing. So if someone beats you up on the street corner or by the barbershop, I'm not going back to remember that. I'm not going back to that place. It's bad luck, you know. So in my mind, I don't want anything to do with this. But I had to admit, when I saw the picture, I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh, you got it, Jeff. You got what you wanted, which is the evidence. Now what do we do?" I mean, so now we know it's there. And at first, I have to tell you that I was relieved emotionally because until the photograph, until other people begin to see it, I thought maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm losing my mind. Maybe I need some medication or some therapy or something like that. When the images came out and then they got the tapes of the ghost talking to us and other people began to see it, I'm thinking, okay, good, it's not me. I thought, well, wait a second, that's actually worse. There's a dead thing in the room. I'd rather have some kind of clinical illness they can treat with pills, medicine, or therapy than have a dead thing calling my name in the room, which became the ultimate reality, which scared the hell out of me.
Right. Now, you know what? I would just thought of this while you're talking. Well, we're talking about your image here. So, just out of curiosity, between the image that Jeff took to what you were physically seeing, how close was the image to what you were actually seeing as far as transparent wise and everything else?
Yeah, that's interesting. It was in the same exact place, the same exact size, same everything, except it was a skeleton. I didn't see a skeleton. I saw a human being. I saw the skin and the hair and the eyes. And when the picture came out, it was the ghost, but like dead. And I remember asking Jeff, why would it be a skeleton? And Jeff said, well, no, maybe the energy starts to form. Maybe it's a circle or something like that. Maybe it grows and absorbs energy. Maybe then the bones come in and the nerves. Maybe over time it would form into a human, full human. Maybe if we waited longer, but I wasn't wait longer. But I don't know. And I wasn't an investigator. I didn't even know to ask that question, except to say that's really weird. That freaked me out because skeletons mean dead, right? Pirates, skeleton, crossbones, but it's dead. So I'm like, why would the ghost look dead? And well, it is dead, but that's kind of spooky. So I don't know. Like I said, the one cool thing about not knowing is I didn't have any conclusions to jump to. In other words, if it's a digital camera, we could make it look like that's clothes and things to match. We didn't have that opportunity. Just that's what it was. And then because I didn't have any understanding, I just thought that's fascinating. Why would that be? Not well, obviously because of. So we were like, what's that word? We came in just like totally open-minded, with no preconceived notions. I think that actually helped us because it made us look at all different scenarios. You know, wasn't the room before we got there? Did it follow me from the Warren presentation? Was it by the tree? Was it somebody? I mean, we didn't know. Was some kid who killed himself at college? Was it? We didn't know anything, so we had to be on the search to look for anything we could find out to make sure we understand. It was fascinating, even though it was scary at the time.
And that was the only photo that actually had something in it after all whatever amount of photos. No,
there are other photographs that aren't as clear. In other words, there's a picture of me holding a bookmark because, well, it's a funny story. In the ghost photograph, there's a stuffed animal. It's hanging from the ceiling. It's a super pickle. when I was in college, I did some nude modeling. So the girls got me a super pickle. It's a joke. So this super pickle, when the ghost went past it, it would move. So it was like, there's nothing in the room, but all of a sudden the ghost would go past it and go like this, like, you see it? That was like proof it was moving something. And so I was actually holding up a bookmark by the pickle to say, come here, go past this. And we have a picture where it's going past. You see the bones behind me. They're a different location from where in the other picture it is, but that's not as clear. So when you make a book or you go on TV, you want to show the clear stuff, not the maybe what ifs. But there are other things there. There are other photographs that do show some activity, just nothing as clear as a human skeleton, just like that. So that's how it is. And I don't know really. I think at some point in time, I asked Jeff, I have a copy of it later on just to have when I went home from college and things when it was all over because I felt safe. But during the haunting, he had everything. He just kept everything like locked away because we knew two things. That was, I'm sorry, we live on motorcycles. I live by a big hill here, but we knew two things. Number one, there was something in the room, and number two, we had to figure out what it was.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, and I get it. I mean, well, you got to also think back then, cameras were just really starting per se, let's just say for the example here. And it's not like today where we have all the different settings for exposure, movement, landscape, night. Like you really had to rely on the environment.
Sure, there's a shutter speed. You had to make the shutter make sure it didn't
the shutter as well.
It was difficult. Jeff would take sometimes minutes to get the camera set up properly so it would actually catch the image or catch whatever he was taking, was a landscape or it was a play or the ghost. It was a chore, and if you messed the picture up, oh well, you can't delete it and get back that space. The picture's messed up. And so the one picture with my hands like this, you see the shutter speed's off, so it cuts up top to top. My head's cut off at the top because the shutter speed was off a little bit. It's like, but again, it's kind of cool looking back because it's authentic. It's not like we planned it out and it's all perfect to prove our point. No, that's what we got. That's what we got. And so we had to deal with it. We were not looking for fame. We were not looking for notoriety. We didn't want any of that. We were just trying to understand what's happening. I wanted none of it. In fact, it took me, 25 years to talk about it. It took me 25 years to speak about it in public. Once I realized it was far behind me, and we survived it safely. Then I felt, okay, I can talk about this because who wants to talk about negative things? But I realized I survived. That's actually positive.
So would that be, oh man, I'm trying to do my math right now. Sorry.
2010.
2000, yeah, okay. Yeah.
25 years later, I talked about the first time that little Please Talk With Me, the DVD, we made that. The first time I talked about it, and I shared my experiences, and Jeff did and things. And that was done not even until it's shared, but just so we had a memory, a recollection of what happened. As you get older, you forget things, And so before we got too old, let's put it all down. And it's fascinating to hear what Jeff said. And then later on, Father Charlie talked on that. And then Linda talked on that. It's just amazing to hear Craig, what people were saying all these years later. And we realized that it changed us as people a lot, but no one wanted to talk about it. And then so finally with that project, it allowed us to, for the first time, reconnect again and share. And
which one was that one again, Chris?
Please Talk With Me.
Oh, yeah, this one right here. I'll just show it for the video. Yeah, so there, for the audio listeners, basically, Please Talk to Me. 2012 it came out. That's from the looks of this. And I'm just going off the image for the audio real quick. So yeah, I mean, all the stuff that I'm sharing, people, unless Chris says something that I don't have a image of, is all available from CETAventures.com. I'll have the link in the description. Otherwise, for the people that are watching the video right now, here's the link right here. So you guys can check it out for future reference anyway. So it's a very interesting everything, like really, because like I was just saying before with Chris, I don't even think we have enough hours to really tackle everything here. So, and I don't even know if you have a time restraint anyway, because again, Chris, I mean, I know you're a busy guy and stuff, and I do want you to share what you can, but if you do want to come back to continue our chat wherever we leave off, I would love that, because I think your story is very important, because it goes to show what us investigators kind of want to know in the field here. And what I mean by that is like the word that I hate pronouncing. Basically, what I'm going to just say is the synchronization, right? There's always a full circle that comes to the end of your story, really,
Right.
of why
Yes.
this happened, I should say, like almost in a weird way. Plus, you mentioned your jogging, what you were doing on a daily routine. You know what? We'll talk about that for a minute. So
Sure.
you love to jog every morning.
I'm going to correct you. I didn't jog. I ran. I was fast. I wanted to be Olympic Games. In fact, a person I used to run against and I beat last time I raced against was John Troutman. He ran in the finals of the 5,000 meters in Olympics in Barcelona, Spain, 1992. So I was a nationally ranked runner. I ran. I loved it. It felt great to have the wind in my hair, just go, 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 go. And I would never have known I could run with my dad. My dad would tell me I was too lazy, get off your butt, do things, and say he'd make me run every day. And I couldn't stand it. Like, oh, it's too hot. Oh, it's too cold. And one day I lied to him. I said, my left knee hurts. Oops, grabbed the wrong knee. He got angry at me. He got a sticky chase me for 3 miles. I was 11 years old. And I ran 18 minutes for a 5K with high school time at 11. He said, you see, you have so much talent, use it. So I realized I had this cool talent. And I used it. I got to college with my running. And so that was very important to me. But as you're mentioning before, you don't always know what you're running past or through.
Well, I don't know if I technically said that, but I mean, maybe I did in some sort of way, like the connectivity. Yeah. But yeah, you're right, which is interesting because before we get into that, we'll just put a pause on this specific piece real quick. So, as you're running, though, you're doing the daily routine, which in the Netflix documentary we kind of learned too. From some speaker, I forget who it was, that were talking about it, but they were talking about how, things, maybe it was actually the Warrens, right? Which we can talk on that in a minute, is they mentioned how if you have like a daily routine, how the spirits are attracted to that and they will almost attach themselves for that specific reason, which is why possibly it would get, not only were you running by the specific tree, and I guess I'll just say it for right now, but we can get into it in a little bit more, but you had a fallen historic marker that your dad, Vito, ended up finding or tripping over one day, and then basically that's how you realized, even though you gave the ghost at the time Tommy, as you kind of just put it at the beginning of our chat, which ironically, his name was basically Thomas or Tommy Parker or something, Boyd or something. I forget how you pronounce
Boyd.
it.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, like that's not a coincidence, man. And just to touch on that, when you were really thinking of calling it Tommy, were you, we hear about these experience with people where sometimes it's almost like something is influencing their mind or giving them somebody else's thought. Do you believe that's what was going on with you, of why you wanted to name it Tommy?
I do. I absolutely do. And again, Jeff said to me, pick a name. I'm like, I don't know its name. We don't have Christmas cards back and forth. I throw things at it and I run and I scream. But I said, Tommy, my parakeet. Well, later on, Paul said Tommy because Tommy, can you hear me? And someone else said Tommy because of Tommy knocker. So every person he asked said they'd call it Tommy for a different reason. So you figured, oh my gosh, it must be Tommy then because everyone's calling this thing Tommy, but for a different reason, independently. Yes, it's like separately and said, don't say anything. So we were convinced this thing, but you thought it was a thing, right? Was named Tommy, which is short for Thomas. And you're right. And the tree I used to run by all the time, several times a week. I ran by the day of the shower attack. That morning, I ran by it. Was the place in which he was slaughtered, killed, and tortured. Right near the running path there. So that's fascinating. And again, that's something that we didn't know going into this. I had no clue. When you're running fast, you're training for the, big meets and things, NCAA meets. You're not looking at the scenery. You're just going. Your time markers, your splits in your arm. You're taking your water intake and stuff. It's a process. And that tree is right at the bottom of this big hill, goes back to the college. So I was never looking around. I'm like, put my arms in that spot. So it's funny because my father, great runner also, more of a sprinter, but he would always trip. It's the funniest thing. He'd say, "This is cross," bang, down he goes. That was a big joke. He'd always fall down in the woods, and sure enough, when they put that in the show, bang, I'm like, that is perfect. That's exactly how it happened. That's my dad. So it was clear to me they talked to my father, they interviewed him, they knew all about him, and me as well. So I'm very happy because, if you make your own video, you can present yourself as you want to present yourself. With your background, the clothes you're wearing, what you're going to say, you prepare yourself. But in those situations for the Netflix shows, they just talk to you for hours. They can pick everything they want to talk about. They can change your words around. They can misrepresent you. They make you a fool. They can make you don't know what they're going to do with the editing process. They can clip things from someplace else and put it here. So it was very important to me that, because this wasn't a fictional thing, it really happened. And they're real people. Craig Norris is real. Linda Fox is real. Jeff Unger, myself, Father Charles Manning is real. We're all real people, and so it was important to me, especially that they portray us as we are, not as some fictional, two-dimensional character. And so little things like that, like, for example, I would draw a lot. I like to draw things. Have the person playing me drawing at the desk. So I knew that they really took the time to find out who we were as people, because in the end, whatever photographs you have, whatever tapes you have, the best evidence are the people who are there. And I always felt that was the case, and the fact that we all worked together eventually, just me, and then me and Jeff, and then me and Jeff and Paul. Then Paul didn't want to be there, he left, and then Linda came in, and Beth came in, and Judy came in, and then the priest came in, then Dr. Lawrence Kastler, the psychology teacher, came in, and then it's just my dad. It was crazy. We got about 12, 13 people eventually were involved in this process.
Yeah. It's like I said, I'm trying to remember here, for the Netflix shows, I think each episode was like a half hour or so long, so about an hour and a half, which to say roughly
40 minutes each. It was like an hour.
40 minutes.
Yeah, it was. Good.
Okay. Yeah, I knew when sometimes with Netflix, it's either around 30 to 40 minutes, depending on what they're talking about. Real quick, too, just in case we haven't really fully said this to maybe people that don't know how long this has been going on with you. So, listeners, viewers who are watching this video version, basically, Chris had this happen to him from September 1984 all the way to December of 1985. So that's a long time to be having this brutal attacks for one. I mean, I don't know how much we want to share on that, but still, it was not a good year and 3 months to deal with all this.
It was great until then. Before that, it was great. I was loving life. MTV was out. I want my MTV. It was great. I was young. I was healthy. I was running. I was in the school newspaper. I was doing the cartoons. I was on the varsity team. I ran for dorm council. I was playing ping pong. I loved it. It was new music, new people, new friends. I was going on dates. Oh man, that was probably the best time of my life until everything changed with the ghost and the Warrens and the attacks. That just totally flipped the script for me. I didn't like it at all. Sometimes in movies, the person who's the victim or the focus of the ghost is negative. They're depressed, angry at the world, want to get back at people. They're a loner. They made fun of. That was nothing like that for me. I was so happy, and initially when they were interviewing me, and this is like a 4-year process, they're asking some very strange questions. I said, I don't want to do this anymore because you're making it to make us depressed. And I wasn't. And so I had to fight very hard to change the narrative, because everything is scripted. So the people I work with out of the UK, Raw Productions, did like Gold Rush, Race for the White House, the Meghan and Harry biopic, Vatican Girl. They were given that show by Netflix to create and they give to Netflix. Well, Netflix got it, wanted to change everything all around. I'm like, that's not cool. So I had big fights where I almost walked out off the set just saying, I'm not doing this then. And I knew they had them because they'd written my friends. They whistled the money then. So I knew I'd get my way. And so eventually you see how it turns a bit. And they try to get our personnel a little better. But at first we were told that we were dusty, a bunch of old white guys. I'm like, stop it. Because, Netflix oftentimes wants to push a progressive agenda and, maybe more diverse in things. But once they heard our testimony, once they saw the evidence, like, this is amazing. So I felt good about that because, I never like, as a school teacher, as a dad, as a grandpa, people judging you because of how you look or where you come from or what your dad did. You know what I'm saying? I always think there's a fair shake in the planet. Give someone a chance to prove themselves. What's inside counts. And luckily for this case, it worked out very well.
Yeah, sounds like you're one of the lucky ones because there was another um show that Netflix did.
Yeah.
The name is drawn a blank, but I've seen it. But it involves a lady that was supposed. I'm just going to say supposedly abducted by
Yeah.
aliens one night from over some town in New York. But like everybody could see this lady being like almost levitated out of the building that night. I can't think of the Netflix name. Anyway, long story short, this lady tried to sue Netflix and stuff because of the fact of how it made her look. And it was just like, well, you kind of have the show kind of playing cat and mouse where you have you that only you have the experience. Nobody can change that. But then you also have this other lady that thinks you're a straight out liar that just wants to get attention. And she's trying to do everything she can to basically just, for lack of wording here, I'm just going to say frame you for your lies, basically. And she's trying to pinpoint certain evidence of against you of like, well, was she like? I remember one specific part where as soon as she kind of said it and showed the video, it's kind of like, yeah, that's interesting. But like, now hear me out, Chris, with your story, right? So anyway, what I want to say real quick is on this specific show, this lady who's trying to frame this other lady was basically mentioning how when she was supposedly getting hypnosis done to her, she wasn't reacting like you feel like you would in that moment. Like, and what I mean is, in your case, you were scared, and you already mentioned it. You took the camera to take that picture for Jeff, which you had no idea, but you took that picture and you gave it back.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah,
and you ran out of the damn room, right?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did very bravely.
So in this video of the lady who was supposedly abducted, she's not showing that like fear, that fear. She's like calm. She just kind of like.
I want to talk about that. You see, if you know you're going to be on Netflix, you know, be seen by millions of people, you want to make sure your hair looks okay, is your shirt okay? People are going to say you're very nervous, and there are cameras here and here. There's a boom mic, there's a mic on your lapel hidden over here. They have the pat downs to their makeup and things like that. They're going to cut, roll it. They have the background. It's so much. There's people all around. It's almost like frightening. Just you're overwhelmed. So sometimes people do kind of freeze up, like, yeah. I was scared. They are like different as they would be if you just talk to them. That can happen, you know. And I understood that, but I wasn't at all worried about that. I knew that I had survived this. I knew what I had seen and heard, and no one's going to change my mind for a sponsorship from some company. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to happen. And I told them, look, for you, and you're all very talented. This is on your resume now, right? You're going to win awards for this and make lots of money. This is not my resume. This is me. My legacy. It's who I am. You're going to tell people in Peru and Bolivia, right, in the Philippines, this is who I become to them. I can't change that. I might know 2,000 people in my life. 9 million people will see this and say, that's who you are. I remember back in college, I was the ghost boy. No, I'm not. I couldn't change that. So I knew if I didn't fight to be who I wanted to be, who I was for the show, I'd bet on my hands. So in fact, there was a day, a second day of filming, I said, it's 11:30. Goodbye, I'm getting on the train, going home. No. That's how angry I was. So this is not the way. And it wasn't the people from London. It was Netflix trying to change the script. They changed things all around. They changed everything around to fit what they want for their messaging. That I was furious. But I knew they had filmed Jeff. They filmed Father Charlie. They had filmed Linda. They can't stop now. They'd spent 3 years researching and getting things together. I knew I had them, basically. You know what I'm saying? So I said, yeah, that's it. If you want me to do this, because I was the star of the show, you're doing it my way because it's the right way. I tell my students at school, I teach special education students, high school, don't lie. There's no way on earth I'm going to lie to everybody. Then I'm worth nothing. People take me at my word because I have credibility. It's all shot if I lie. Then if I lie about this, I lie about everything, right? So it's very important to me, even if I sounded foolish, I didn't sound like it was supposed to sound, I want the truth to be out there. And that's so important to me. You know, there are some changes they made. It's true. They changed some of the dates, whatever. and they show the person draws the right hand. I'm left-handed. Whatever. I mean, there's some smarter things, but for the most part, they did a very good job. The only major change that happened was they had screenshots of this. After they'd done everything put together, they'd put it in front of audiences, private screenings, and they said, "You're in that room too much." So the actual final encounter didn't happen in the woods. The final encounter happened in that room. I broke the priest's blessing, and I called it into the room. In reality, it was in the room across from the bathroom where it attacked me. And my friend Craig said, "Listen, be brave. Take off all your clothes. Go in there and talk." It's not when they're butt-ass naked to talk to this thing with the scratches on my back. It was frightening. But they changed it to me in the woods. That's the only significant change. The rest of it was all very, very accurate. And I understand why they did that, because they're making a product. They want to make sure that people like it. And so they just moved what happened from here to there. And I wasn't thrilled with that, but I could tell people now that's a change that was made.
That's fair. Yeah. That's interesting that you say that, but at the same time, they may have changed it, but I think personally that change kind of helped the story, because that's where your father tripped on it.
That's right? That's the connection.
Yeah, that's the connection.
History.
Yeah, and for people, audio, I kind of did like a air quote thing, but that's just because they were making, like Chris just said, they're trying to make that product, and they're trying to connect from when, Chris's father found the marker, the tree that Chris had been running by every single day until he actually stopped for a while. With that, yeah, that's a whole can of worms. Maybe if we have time.
Yeah.
But anyway,
and if I can say real quick too, is that it was originally to be 6 episodes. It's gonna be 3 hours long, and they filmed it for that. But then the other episode came in at an hour. It was too unbalanced. They had to cut hours in half. So at the last minute, they had to cut an hour and a half off of my episodes. They went from 6 to 3. So they had to really chop things. So that also makes it a bit uneven. So, but that's what happens sometimes. I can't control that. But still, if somebody asked me, "Hey, you want to be on Netflix for an hour and 40 minutes?" Okay, cool. I'm not upset with it. It's just, ideally, it would have been the whole 3 hours, because this haunting happened day after day, week after week for months, month upon month upon month. And so you don't see the professor of psychology, Dr. Kastler, who showed us how to get the tapes recorded. You don't see a lot of people who were there in it, So, but they did a great job, considering they had to, at the last second, chop it right in half.
Well, that's the thing with any type of production company. Like, here's an example for people too. That I mean, I'm not even getting paid to say this, basically. But I was in a documentary that was filmed last year. I was there for about almost 2.5 hours just to talk and with these people, and they're small town monsters, by the way. I'm pretty good friends with some of the people. But anyway, out of the 2 hours that I talked, I'm in it for like a minute and 10 seconds, but I don't control that. No, and I mean, is there some pet peeves about it? Sure, but I mean, do I have to live with it? I mean, unfortunately, but I mean, do I like it? I mean, I like it, and then, like I said, I have my pet peeves. So, I mean, there's something. It's
still a nice opportunity, whether you're there for a minute or 10 minutes. It's nice to have your face be seen, your voice be heard. I tell you a quick, kind of sad, funny story. Back in 2012, Craig Norris. Craig is in the Netflix show. He's the one who grew up with a hippie face like that. He's a bit rough sometimes on the edges. They brought him down to film for Sci-Fi. He brought his family down to Manhattan, all these things, told his parents. He's filmed for them for a couple of days. When the show came out, he was cut entirely. No one ever told him that. So they had a big watch party, and you're not even in the show. He was crushed. So I made sure, checking with people from Raw and from Netflix, is everyone still on the show? Please tell me they're all in there. Are they in there? Please promise me they are. And they all were, because it's nothing worse than telling people you'll be on a TV show and you're not.
And you had to dedicate your time. Yeah, and you had to dedicate your time and stuff, and then you're not in it.
Yeah, it's frustrating, right?
Oh, I mean, like
4 years to make. 4 years it took. Imagine making something for 4 years and they cut you out of there entirely.
Wow. Not cool. No. So, yeah, that's funny that you say that, because I remember when I was first reached out by Heather from Small Town Monsters.
Yes.
And it was funny because I was apparently recommended by somebody, and I had this strange like Facebook message come through, and all I see is, hey, I'm Heather from Small Time Monster. We're going to be coming up to Vermont, yada, 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 about this. Like, she basically was breaking down what I had already knew what was being filmed for last year, because I had backed the Kickstarter because they were coming to Vermont. So I was just like, yeah, I'll back this, Anyway, long story short, not like I knew I was going to be get asked to be part of the project, but it was just funny because I already knew who they were. I kind of knew who Heather was. And, but yeah, I kind of wrote back because I was in New York with my family at the time. And I'm just like, hey, I don't mean to be like a rude person right now, but hey, I'm with my friend right now. This sounds interesting. If I can, I'll get back to you on Sunday and we can talk more then.
Very polite of you. You're very polite. When they reached out to me, I deleted the emails. The woman named Kelly Nobe from London reached out to me. I thought it was spam. I deleted it. She reached out a second time. I deleted that one too. So finally, I'm talking to John Zaffis, the Haunted Collector guy. Because I've known him for many years. And I said, what? He goes, oh, Chris, that's a great company. Do. I'm like, oh. So I had to go back into my trash bin and find one of the emails and respond. I'm like, oh my God. So you're best life than I am. I just deleted everything. Trash bin. Not knowing. I thought it was fake. I think it was real.
Yeah, there was somebody that tried to email me recently, and they were trying to say something to the effect of, hey, your documentary or something. I'm like, what are you talking about? Right. Like, I didn't even reply to this person. Actually, you know what? Yes, I did. I just replied and I just said one little sentence. I just said, what documentary are you talking about? And then question mark or whatever that they were asking me. And I hit the send and never heard back again. So I was just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But no, like you were saying though, like, now that it's funny that you say like, once your face is out there and stuff, that's kind of, that's it really. Like people start looking you up. So ironically enough, I had this random person find me from seeing that documentary I'm in, which by the way, for everybody wondering, I'm in the documentary from Small Town Monsters called From the Beyond, High Strangeness in the Bennington Triangle. Very long title, but trust me, that's what it's called. Long story short, he had followed my Haunted Vermont page, and he tried to request me on my personal page for Instagram. I deleted him on my personal because it was like a Goosebumps page. I was just like,
know him,
whatever. I didn't know him.
Right.
Anyway, I got a random message from him on my Haunted Vermont page saying, I see you deleted me, but I thought you were cool with your Goosebumps tattoo from the documentary. And I'm like, from the Beyond documentary? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I am so sorry. I'm like, dude, I just delete random.
Well, how would you know though, right? Time. How would you know that?
Yeah. Well, I think that the important thing is, and I'll say this to anybody, if you want to friend request me or whatever, please, like, at least send me a message. So, like, that way you can be like, hey, I saw you in From the Beyond. That way I know you're just wanting to, I don't know, catch up with me or something, or just stay up to date with me for some weird reason because of my bizarre stories of the phenomenon that I like to dive in here. Chris, I don't know so much, but I mean, here you're talking about a story, but it took him 25 years, and that's a lot. That's a lot. And you got to give people props like that because of all the ridicule, no matter what.
Occult back then, it was the occult. It wasn't like today with groups and TV shows and movies. It was The Exorcist was out there and things like that, and then you had Ed and Lorraine Warren going around the country. I mean, it wasn't like today. You could lose your job back then, get kicked out of your church, lose relationships. If you talk about ghosts and demons, it was literally the occult. So it's very different now, where people talk about it openly and freely, which I think is probably a good thing.
Yeah, and I mean, so real quick for the record here. So, like, Chris is known as the Ghost Boy of Erie Hall. People that I'm familiar with half the time give me the nickname Ghost Boy or a Ghost Dude or a Ghost Guy, depending on who I'm talking with. But it's just because they know I'm fascinated with this stuff, and they know I used to ghost hunt or ghost investigate, whatever your term nowadays. I like the term investigation now. I used to say ghost hunting, but I think investigation is more
it's more serious.
Yes, and I feel like, in my own personal opinion, I have matured from when I first started, but at the same time, it was just like I was young and stupid, like everybody else. We're all young and stupid at one point in time. What do they say? Like, sometimes somebody doesn't really fully mature until they're in the late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, I believe that.
I think that's what I read, but I
Yeah,
mean,
especially
yeah.
guys, especially guys.
Oh yeah, totally. Women, on the other hand, I guess it depends on the ladies. I'll just say that.
They tend to
Anyway,
mature more faster. I'm a high school teacher. The girls tend to mature emotionally and physically before the boys do, usually. And so,
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's fair game. Anyway, but yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. I mean, now when I'm doing my own guest appearances on other people's shows, one of the things I now try to end the chat with is basically, and I'm not trying to say I'm trying to end the chat with Chris right now, but I just want to get the point across with Chris. Like, I'm not getting any older, just like Chris is not getting any younger, or whatever I'm trying to say basically for this thing. I don't even know why I'm trying to say I'm not getting any older, but whatever. I'm not getting any younger. And I just want to share what has happened to me, because maybe somebody who listens to this will say, hey, you know what? This reminds me of the time that this happened to me. And then maybe they might want to share because they don't feel so alone anymore. And I think that's what we all need in this field nowadays. It's like the cryptid universe. Real quick, Chris, if I may, like, if depending on your uh, opinions on Bigfoot, you got one side and you got the other side. But in reality, the whole Bigfoot community sometimes hates everybody, because if you're not on their side of how they want it to be looked at, then
you mean like politics?
yeah, exactly. It's like politics. Yeah. We'll just leave it at that. But it's just that's just sadly what it has become in a way of, unfortunately, looking at it. Because even with some of the people that I like to listen to, I know they're flesh and blood. But then you got the other side where it's like, well, there's more to it than just flesh and blood. But then the flesh and blood will be like, like they want to punch them because they want to keep it flesh and blood, nothing more. Anyway, that's my little pet peeve rant. I'm done with that. Anyway, you just brought up Ed and Warren, which you had a little encounter with them,
That's fair.
which I wanted to also note here. I put a note when I was going back to this, Chris, and that was, why did it seem like they had no interest in trying to help you, or did they try to help you?
Well, Jeff wanted to go see them talk. I didn't really know who they were, but Jeff said it was free. And when you're in college, free is good. So we went. And I have to say that Lorraine was a very good speaker. When she spoke, I felt like she was talking to me. I mean, she was just very convincing. What she was saying kind of confused me. She would say things like attracts like. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Give me a magnet, and like poles repel. So I had a hard time what she was saying at first. But then I realized she was talking about relationships, not science. And then they played these EVPs, they called them, which were these sounds that they had recaptured that were scary sounding. They had these slides of what they said were ghosts from different famous cases, mostly in black and white images. And it was an entertaining show. It was worth the money for sure, And I admired their bravery to talk about something that's very controversial. At the end of the presentation, Ed had a big booming voice. He goes, "Come on down and meet Lorraine and say hello." And Jeff thought, that's a great idea, so let's go down there and ask questions. So I went down there too to be polite. And as I got to the stage, like on this line, and she got to me, she looked at me, she said, "No, I won't shake your hand." I'm like, "What?" She said, "I don't want to know my future." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Ed looked at me, put his hands on me, and tossed me off the stage. That's actually what happened. And I was mortified to be thrown off the stage by these famous people in front of hundreds of people around me. That was afterwards. They went on a investigation of the campus. I didn't go because I was angry at them, and made me upset. And Jeff kept saying, "Why should you do that?" I'm like, "I don't know. Are you sensitive?" "I am not. My feelings are hurt." No, I mean, so we had this big conversation about what she would have sensed. Well, I thought at that point in time they were great speakers, great entertainers, successful, but I didn't like them because they're rude to me for no reason. Anyway, so 32 years later, I'm speaking at an event, and a very attractive, nice woman came to says hello. She says, "Hi, is your name Chris?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm Chris." She goes, "You're the ghost boy, right, from Erie Hall?" I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "My mom loves you." I'm like, "Who's your mom?" "Oh, Lorraine Warren." I'm like, "What?" She says, "Yeah, I'm Judy. I'm Lorraine's daughter. She talks to me all the time." I'm like, "No, it was some other Chris. Let me tell you what actually happened. You're confused with somebody else." When I said, "No, here's what happened." Judy didn't like the scary stuff. She'd stay in the car and do crossword puzzles and word searches. It scared her. Then that night, her mom came back to the car and said, "Oh my gosh, this is a young blonde-haired kid. His aura was so immense. He had so much of an aura, so vibrant. It blocked me. I couldn't read people. I couldn't do my readings. I had to get off the stage because, it just blocked me. It didn't help me, so I had to get him off real quick. I want to talk to him someday. He's really cool." So what I took as negative, embarrassing, rude, just kind of throw me off the stage, like I'm not worth anything, was actually the opposite. She was so impressed that she wanted to talk later on, but not now. They're being paid to perform. There's people in the audience, right? So get to them later on. And that's how that happened. And of course, they would go from college to college, like barnstorming from place to place. And they were gone the next day. So when I heard that, I thought, how cool is that? That actually, she didn't mind me. She actually talked about it. She said my book apparently too, so that's kind of neat. But so that kind of took the negative and made it a positive. About 6-7 years ago, I had a chance to speak with her and say hello for the first time officially. I was to go out to their place in Connecticut. It's only about 45 minutes from my house. But then Judy told me, "Listen, just so you know, she has dementia. And she comes in, she comes out. She might not know who you are. I talk about her roosters and things like that." So I said, "You know what? The first time I met her was very confusing and almost negative. I don't want to go back a second time with her addled and make her nervous again around me." So I did the right thing if that killed me inside and said, "That's all right. I just tell your mom," I said, "I'm thinking about her and best of luck." And so I declined on that opportunity. But I did get something nice. This is from Ed Warren's library. This is a monk book he had from Spain, from Ed's library.
Nice.
Ed Warren. So I have some keepsake at least, from the conversation. I had no idea way back in the day, 40 years ago, they would be as notorious, as popular, as beloved, as reviled, as powerful as they are in the paranormal as they are today. They're like icons, whether you love them or hate them, right? And I had no idea. People would say, "Oh my God, you talked to them." Yep. So it's kind of cool. By the time I was just like, this is embarrassing. I didn't know what was happening. So it just goes to show you that I'm now a link, ironically, to that past. I'm a link to the current investigators, to the past ones. I feel kind of cool about my little bridge like that, So it's kind of
Right.
cool.
Well, that's why I kind of felt like too bad there wasn't a chance to say that, like, I don't know, in the show or something, just to kind of say like, hey, even though this happened, but things changed in the...
From their perspective, what if there's part 2? And part 2, they could say, well, what if... In other words, like, they like cliffhangers, right? They like movies, so that they didn't do anything about this. It ends like, what the heck happened now? What happened, right? Plus, they James Wan did the Conjuring movies with whatever the name is, the actors and things like that. So that's the legacy too. So I'm sure at some point in time I'll get an email again. I won't delete this time. Let's do some more of this, and I'm sure that'll be kind of cool. And they'll probably answer some questions that are brought up by the first 3 episodes, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I just felt like Tessa and I were watching, and we're just like, wait a minute. These famous people that are known to help people didn't seem to want to help Chris. Like, that was just the taste in our mouth that we had.
People get angry at them. I feel bad because I didn't want people to get angry at them. That's just what happened, though. So like, I was angry, so it makes sense. But just to show you that I knew I was right to be angry, but in reality, I shouldn't have been. I just didn't. No. I have my own perspective, my own lens. And I couldn't see my own lens in that moment. And that happens to everybody sometimes, right? And now I feel very gratified that their daughter found me and said, "Hey, my mom thought you were great." And all this. I'm like, wow, that's so nice to hear. So, I could have been selfish and forced my way to see her and maybe make her uncomfortable, but I wanted to be a good person. And it was good enough for me to know the mom thought I was okay.
The fact that their daughters found you, though.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just say, hypothetically, right? Let's just say this encounter never happened. Would you still have felt that, though, that same way?
Yes. Yeah. If I'd never had the chance to talk with Judy and Tony, who's her husband, I would have always felt a bit of bitterness and sadness about why that happened the way it did. However, I would still respect them for all they did for the community, for the field, for getting the notoriety of the paranormal out there. So it's kind of like with performers of music. I might like the person's actual personality, the singer, I might like their music, you know. So I was able to separate that, but it's so much better to appreciate what they did and also feel somewhat connected to them in a positive way rather than a negative one. So I can't lie to you, it does feel better than if it didn't happen. So I'm very thankful to Judy for that. And this is kind of cool. I mean, that's great. Who else has the Ed Warren artifact in their house? I mean, this is kind of neat, right? So there's some very good positives.
Yeah. Now, real quick, Chris, like I said, I don't know, how much time you wanted to share with me tonight, but I just wanted to at least get this out of the way just in case we have not shared this. But when you, what I can do is I'll share my notes and then maybe you can help expand on it a little bit.
No math, right? And I'm not good at math.
No math.
Okay, good.
All right. Whew, we can throw that out the
if I train in Chicago at 8 o'clock in the morning going,
Yeah, and I'm not trying to, make it sound like I want
to. This challenge me. This is great. I love it.
Well, what I'm trying to say is I'm not trying to cheap shot the Warrens either because, but that's just the way Tessa and I took it. So the fact that you happened, amazing. That makes it more of like a less bad taste in my mouth now.
Yes. So good.
Well, I'll share with you after the air. Anyway, my notes first say when you, or this might be before you named it Tommy, I'm pretty sure. So I just want to clarify this right now. So there's a long list here, so I apologize right now.
No, it's fine. Go for it.
So you first heard the entity in your dorm room, or should I say when you first, hang on, let me see how I'm writing this note, sorry. All right, you first heard the entity in your dorm room, and then you first saw him, or maybe you first saw Tommy, like I said, you can correct me in a minute, at the toga party, which was outside a window, and you heard it call to you. And you were spooked by what you had seen, and it seemed like everybody else around you had noticed that. You also saw him, or you were working on a paper, and your name was being called. You had, and what was even weird about this is you had headphones on, and you still could hear your name or something. You could hear something. And, it kind of got you to the point where you wanted to take your headphones off because you thought maybe Jeff or somebody was calling you and everything else. And that's where I think, Chris ran into your room to start investigating to help take those pictures, right?
Yeah. The first thing that happened was seeing that angry looking person that he looked disheveled and angry and like injured out the toga party window. It was very disconcerting. I thought it was just a person who escaped from like an institution or something like that, like an asylum. He looked really angry, like looking right at me, like I was walking in his grave or something, very angry. So I said to people, look at that guy out there. And then he was gone. So I was like freaked out by that. Like, ooh, that's weird. Where would he go? And so but at the time I thought it was just some strange man. I didn't think it was the ghost yet. And then a couple of days later, I began to hear in my dorm room inside of Erie Hall, after Lake Erie, I began to hear someone say my name, like Chris. I'm like, doors open, come on in. It's not locked, come on in. Chris, it's just I'm working. Come in there, just open the door. It's open. Chris, I'm like, oh my God. So I went over to open the door, opened up, and no one's there. I thought, that's bizarre. Must be a practical joke. So I closed the door, put some headphones on, Paul's headphones, and I played Sammy Hagar, I Can't Drive 55, the Red Rocker, right? Because I figured if they're bothering me, I can't hear them, too bad. In the headphones, with the music blasting, I heard, Chris. I'm like, whoa, and I threw them on the ground. They couldn't get the rights to that song, unfortunately, for the show, but they get Tears for Fears in there, and they got like Simple Minds, right? And they got those big, so that's how it happened, just like that. And I thought that's crazy. So I thought, okay, why would that happen? What is going on? What would make this happen where I could talk in the headphones? A couple hours later, Paul claimed that he was seeing shadows that made him nervous, so he left the room. That's when I saw for the very first time the ghost right there in the room, and it scared the hell out of me, and I ran so fast out of that room. That's how it happened. That's how it began, just like that. It was later on I realized, oh my gosh, with the wounds we saw on the thing, that must have been him outside the party, the toga party before. But we didn't know that was him until months later. I just saw some guy. I'm like, oh my gosh, it matches this. I thought, oh my God, he was here before that night. He was actually watching out the window. That was even scarier because I wasn't looking for hauntings. I didn't know what they were. So people said, when did it start? I didn't even know when it started. He had been there for 2 weeks before I even noticed him, right? I didn't even know. So it scared that beep out of me. And that's the thing. Even though it's been over now for 41 years, it's in the past. I'm fine now, right? But still, one time it happened out of the blue. There it was. So my mind tells me that, you know what? Happened once. It can happen again. So I'm still actually cautious. I guess it's a form of PTSD about what will be around the corner sometimes, you know, and I guess that's fair, right? Because if any of your listeners or viewers, hope it doesn't happen, wakes up tonight after watching this and sees some stranger over their bed watching them asleep at night, you'll never forget that. You'll never forget that moment. How'd the person get in? Who were they? Were they trying to kill me? Was it a thief, right? You lock your doors twice, windows twice. That's what I went through, except who's going to believe me? There was no person. There was a thing, like, right? So I felt like totally out of my league. This thing goes through walls. I can't do anything about that. No one's going to believe me, so I'm not safe. So luckily, people like Jeff and Craig and Linda and Beth and Judy and all those folks were around me to help us walk through this process, you know, together. And then, of course, with the shower attack, that was gruesome. And then Linda being held under her bed, then Beth being knocked unconscious. I mean, things really amped up. You had the priest coming, busting the room, the ceremony. Wow. I mean, who could have ever guessed that would have happened, right? I mean, so people tell me it's like the Holy Grail. You've got EVPs. You got the thing talking to you. You identified the person, the ghost, the ghost. You got a picture of the full-bodied apparition. You got a priest busting your room. I mean, everything you ever want in experience, you had. And the funniest part was, I didn't want any of it. And people I respect will spend thousands of hours and hundreds of dollars looking for something, some piece of evidence. Man, I'm like, do. And it just all came at me like, what the heck? So I just tell people, maybe it happens for you. I don't know. But for me, I had to survive this. I wasn't looking for it, and it happened. It's just like, you know, people get cancer. People go bankrupt. People get addictions. People lose loved ones. I mean, life happens sometimes against your will. But you have to face it. And you have to go on, and you learn about yourself, about the good things and the bad things that inform you later on what you can do in the future. So I'm just thanking God that I had good friends around me, you know?
Right. And maybe we should touch on that too real quick, which is, so your friend got attacked, but that was because, if I understand what really happened, is because you wanted to stop running every morning. And that seemed to change the focus of this entity's objective, we'll just say here, because you're not doing the routine anymore.
It was this. The priest used this book, and the priest blessed the room. Paul, who left, you remember who left? He didn't stay there. He was an atheist. He didn't believe in God, didn't believe in any religion. He thought it was all silly rules that people make up to stop you from having fun. He was the one who said, we need a priest. So when an atheist tells you, get a priest, you know, things are pretty bad. So he wanted the priest to get rid of the ghost. I thought, hey, if it works, I'm with you. Jeff said, no. If it were the ghost, we can't talk to it. We can't ask it questions. Is there a heaven? Is there a hell? I mean, this is our chance to have an amazing situation. So, but in the end, Jeff understood. I wanted it gone too. So in reality, Paul and I took Jeff's notes and went to the priest to talk to him. He agreed to bless the room. And that's what he did. He blessed the room. And it was weird because when he got there, once he put oil on my forehead, the shape of a cross. He put the oil on my forehead. He did the holy water like this. He had the Bible readings. It was like 25 minutes or so. Before he was there, we had the flashing clocks. We'd have breezes. We'd have screams in the room, shadow figures, all these things. Once the priest did his blessing, it all stopped. And I was so happy. So however he did it, whether it's his prayers, his training, his collar, his oil, whatever he did, the Bible quotes, the ghost went out of the room like he asked it to. The ghost listened to him, but the ghost was also angry that he couldn't see me anymore. So the ghost began attacking my friends because he didn't get to me anymore. So it was the ghost's way of getting back. So, okay, you know what? You blessed that room. Guess what? I'll attack your friend. You come to me anyway. The ghost was furious that the priest blessed the room. Furious. I thought at that point in time, it was evil. I thought it really was the evil thing. You know, and looking back, probably it was just desperate. Even a cat, your furry, or a dog, part of your family, if they're hurt or scared, they might scratch you. They might bite you just because they're hurt or scared. So I think people are the same way. People who break your heart are the ones who are closest to you. If Bob Smith on the road says, you're an idiot, I don't care. My wife says that, ooh, right? So I think that it wanted to be near me and talk with me and get help from me so badly, it got violent when I pushed it away through the blessing. That's what my belief is.
No, I'm kind of glad you actually brought that up, because you know what? We could maybe end it here, because I don't know how much time you want to do. But one thing, I think I said this at the beginning, which is why your story is so important, and I want this to be known as that because of the connection. I believe is how I was trying to say it. The synchronization. There we go. There's the word that I have sometimes a hard time pronouncing. Anyway, it's the fact that, as you just put it, it wanted to use you to reach out, because at the end of the day, as you even said, how the Netflix ending is different than what really actually happened. But the point to this is Parker Thomas Boyd basically wanted forgiveness. He wanted absolution for whatever he had done, which, by the way, did you ever find out what happened? Like what he want? What, if you don't mind, just what did he want forgiveness from?
Thomas Boyd was part of General Sullivan's campaign, and that was in the western part of the colonies. We weren't a country yet, it was just early on, the 1700s. And General Washington was trying to fight the British on the east, and also Native Americans who had allied with the British on the west. And he sent scouting parties up that way, through Pennsylvania, up through Elmira, and then into the Geneseo area where the Haudenosaunee were. And Thomas Boyd was thinking to take a group out there to scout. And the Native Americans aide said to him, don't go that way. You'll get in trouble. There's a big ambush there. No, we're not going to get ambushed. We'll be fine. And so sure enough, they went out there. Their shots were fired. And then he and Parker were like scalped and gutted and things like that. It was all his fault. If he just listened to his Native American guide, wouldn't have happened. But because of him, people died. Because of him, they were suffering. And when Washington heard that, he said, you know what? Burn everything down. When Washington heard that happened, he said, burn all the villages down. So all the Native Americans were forced to go to Fort Niagara, dying on the way. So that one thing he chose led to so much pain, so much suffering, so much horror. It's historical in nature, you know what I'm saying? There are like monuments to it now and things like that. And so I was angry at the ghost. I wanted to make him punished. I wanted to punish him because how bad he was to me and how he attacked me and things. But when I saw his face, they are the saddest eyes I've ever seen. And I couldn't help but feel sad for this damn thing. Made me angry at myself. Stop, don't be soft. But he's crying. He's just crying, saying, I made a mistake, he said. So much pain. And that's how it happened, And I remember I said, I don't know why you chose me. I don't know how to even help you, but if I'm going to try, I'll tell you this. You have to find peace. You have to find rest. Whatever you did to be forgiven, and someone still loves you, please. And I count to 10, you got to go. And that's how it ended. And I counted to 10, and I closed my eyes, and that was it. I waited a few days before I told people, and I said, oh, what's the ghost? And I told them, and Jeff wrote down about how I put the ghost to rest. And that's how the legend began of all those things. I remember talking to God and saying, I can't do this. You got the wrong guy. I can't. You're smart. You're manipulative. What's wrong with you? You're either not as powerful as supposed to be, or what's going on here? And yet here I am, and it worked. So I was wrong again. I was wrong about the Warrens. I was wrong about the ghost. I was wrong about almost every single thing I was wrong about. But looking back, I was honest. I was kind. I was considerate. I just maybe sometimes it's the unlikely hero, right? The person you least expect to do it, and it seemed to have, knock on wood, worked. I think the spirit found peace. I think made it through okay. And now I can share my experience all around the globe and talk about coping skills and looking for the next day and eating your food and listening to music and reach out to people and repair connections where they're gone. So what was a horrible thing, what's never happened, I now am actually gratified that I can actually make something positive from it.
Yeah, and Kat, come on. The reason why I wanted to bring this up is really, I want to end it because it's a very fascinating thing, and I keep saying that connection, that the synchronization, which is what really brings it full circle, is the fact of your father found a book. I'm trying to remember what book it was. So again, I apologize for this, but he read in this book that how your father's wife ancestors had found the body of Thomas Boyd.
Yeah, it turns out that there was a connection to my family going back. I think my great grandfather and uncle found Thomas Boyd's body in the 1700s, and they gave him a burial. They buried his body because it was eaten by the dogs and things like that, and they just left it out there. And they actually gave him actual burial and said prayers over him. And that's the person who 200 years later found me running past the place where he was killed. And of course, we didn't find it out until much after. But how fascinating is that? So it must have sensed who I was or known in some way that there was that connection. And I remember people say sometimes there's always a connection. You have to find it. And sure enough, there it was. Connection. There it was. Yeah. And that's just fascinating to me. And I hope the spirit's okay. I don't want to see him, of course. I don't come here, but I hope he finds rest. And I hope that someday when I close my eyes the last time, I do get a chance to talk to him and see if he's okay. Because at least he'll know I tried my best. At least he'll know this young kid tried his best to help. And what I knew to do. And hopefully, knock on wood, it was enough.
Or if you're like me that sometimes believes in the whole reincarnation, hopefully he maybe, rebirthed in a way and just, I
hope he's happy.
He's got a second chance at life. So
I hope he's happy, yes.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a whole other rabbit hole we can go under about the afterlife and stuff like that. But I mean, I do hope that you do get that chance to maybe be like, hey, I'm glad that you chose me, you found me because of the connection of the family, et cetera, et cetera. Because how odd is that too, for you go to this college just to, do your thing, your lifelong dream, and there's an entity that just wants forgiveness, and unfortunately kind of turned your life upside down. But at least you were. I've been all day trying to figure out how to even word this. So I think the only way I'm going to be able to word this that feels appropriate is at least you were there when he needed you to get that forgiveness, so he didn't stick around.
No, he waited 200 years, so I got there a little bit late. But at least I did get there.
You did, but at least he's still not there. Yeah.
So I got there. I'm a little slow on the uptake, but I get there eventually.
I mean, in a weird way, even though he is not here, like in the spiritual form, as far as we're aware, he got that forgiveness from you that he wanted, the absolution. But at the end of the day, man, even though your life was turned upside down, you are still carrying that story, his story too.
It's true. So, alive still, right? Those minds. You're right.
Yeah, the ripple effect.
Yep.
So again, Chris, I mean, at the end of it all, I mean, here you are, 16 years later after coming out with your story. I mean, how do you look at it now? Because I know when you were kind of first talking about it, it was just like, this kind of ruined my life. So how do you look at it now after talking about it and reevaluating what had happened?
Well, I think two ways. The first way is personally. I mean, I still wish it never happened. I didn't like what happened. I think maybe life would be a little nicer if it hadn't have happened. But again, we don't choose what life gives us sometimes, right? Life happens. But I think more importantly, what I think, I now have a very positive footprint I'm leaving behind about survival and hope and forgiveness, and I don't think that I have the opportunity without this. So in a way, I now become part of this paranormal lexicon. I'm part of the ethos out now. People from 80 years ago will talk about this ghost boy and what had happened, So I guess it gives me it's a nice gift to have some relevance in the world, but sometimes you feel like you have no meaning sometimes, like there's a speck on the globe. It's nice that I get messages from, places like, Slovakia and the Philippines and Japan and Saudi Arabia. I get almost every week, I get like a message on Instagram or Facebook or, even sometimes on Reddit. That's rough sometimes. So I meet a lot of new people. So I guess I should really feel blessed that I made it through. I feel blessed that my friends were there. I feel blessed I could share this the way I can. And I feel blessed I get to share like with you today, Paul. But, it wouldn't be possible without all this. So as much as I wish it didn't happen, I'm making the most of it because I really think that people might benefit from an experience that puts you through the ringer and you come out stronger.
Well, I agree with everything you said, and I just want to just also add to the point that not everything is evil. Everything is, if you're getting scratched, you're getting shoved, you're getting whatever. Sometimes we're all looking at things in the wrong light, as we were just talking like a few moments ago, right? Yeah. And it's just their way of trying to get your attention to then maybe, like Thomas here, wanted just forgiveness. And then that was it. Once he got it from you, boom. His story ended in a way.
There's the close view and the far view. So if you have a high school girlfriend or boyfriend and they break up with you, it crushes you. But the world still turns. Beyond you means nothing, right? People just eating their food and watching the news and stuff like that. So I guess there's two ways. The first thing is to say, well, yes, not all spirits are evil and not all things are bad. But you should still be careful of people who are bad and spirits who are bad. That can still happen, right? I mean, you still have a person going to sell you bad life insurance. Someone wants to steal your hubcaps off your car. It happens sometimes. Most people are nice. And you might still run across a spirit that might be a little malevolent and things like that. But most of them are not. And I think it's a matter of what sells. People like hearing scary stories. Look on the news today. Who got divorced? Who died? Who got shot? Who's at war? Never who got married, who had a kid, who's happy today. Our whole society focuses on the whole negative stuff. It's all negative things. We don't have that. So I think that with television, usually scary things sell. Look at the whole horror genre. It's huge, right? Like Friday the 13th, part 27. It's just like people love that stuff, but you don't have a lot of happy movies, do you? So I think we're kind of geared that way. But in reality, like you're saying, there's more good than bad.
Yes, exactly. And to counteract what you were saying about the world around us today, let's just be fair. I've seen it being commented all the time where if we do get some sort of weird positive news getting shared around, next thing you know, we get comments that are basically saying, oh, it must be a slow day if you're posting about this.
It's true. Or it's AI or it's fake, right? Right.
Or it's, oh God, don't even get me started on that.
So yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. But anyway, Chris, I don't want to take much more of your time. I already feel honored for you to want to come and share your story. I think it's, like I said, it's compelling to see that how just something like just you going to this college, like I was mentioning, the spirit latches onto you because of the possible, not only your daily routine, you were going by the tree and where you were tortured and all this, but I also believe it knew your family connection. And I truly, honestly believe that, because without that, I think he wouldn't have been able to find that person for, who knows how long until to get what he would want.
Yeah, the ghost had means, motive, opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. The alignment of it all. But anyway, Chris, I appreciate your time today. If there's ever anything that we didn't get a chance to talk about, you're welcome to come back on.
Sure.
And we can talk more, maybe more in depth or something that maybe we didn't get a chance to. Like, I know you have a book. I know you have it. Real quick, it's this. This is your newest one, The Ghost Boy of Erie Hall. Maybe we could have a part 2, which would be maybe if, what is in the book. This would be a good teaser. What is in the book that's not in the Netflix show? But we could maybe save that for another time. That would be a nice little teaser.
A lot.
Exactly.
Maybe 10% of the book.
There you go. Yeah. So, I mean, and we don't have to talk everything. But anyway, Chris, is there anything that you would like to plug as far as maybe for people that want to keep up to date? I know you're doing a lot of events for 2026 for your book and, Netflix in general, because it was last year when it came out?
October.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Any final words or any plugs that you would like to do?
First of all, it was nice to have met you. It was nice to know you. I want to say that, Paul. And so if anybody's in the area, I try to stay in the Northeast best I can. I don't have to travel too much, but this Saturday I'm going to be in Princeton, New Jersey, at the 4th Annual Cryptids and Paranormal Conference. That's in New Jersey. I'm going to be at the Gettysburg Bash, Battlefield Bash in July. People like that. I'll be at the Sci-Fi Horror Fest. That's going to be August 15 and 16. It's near Utica, New York by Syracuse. I'm going to be down in Lower New Jersey at Stockton University for the Hollow Paracon. I'll be at the Big Parody Festival in New Jersey, Woodbridge in November. I'm going to be speaking at the Transylvania Restaurant, East Haven, Connecticut. And that's going to be August the 6th. I'm going to be at the Haunted History Trail at the Empty Pockets Ranch on September 19th. So I'll be all over the place. Come say hello. I'd like to talk to you and share some stories and get to know people. And I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on X. On all those things. So reach out and say hello, and I'll have a chat. But thank you very much, Paul, for the opportunity. I appreciate it, and I'm very thankful things worked out the way they did.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll have to find you on Instagram and all that fun stuff too. But another thing that I will suggest real quick, if maybe for next year, is look up Vermont Sci-Fi and Horror Expo.
Okay.
I will send you the details for that afterward. But yeah, that runs around April of every year.
I love Vermont. I told you my story, right? My story real quick. Do you remember I told you?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I went on a nudist photo safari as a model in Vermont, and I had to lean against this maple tree. I had sap on my butt for like months. I couldn't scrape it off. It's horrible. And that's that. It's my Vermont story.
Nice. Oh, man.
Beautiful, though. Brattleboro and Burlington. Gorgeous place. Gorgeous.
Oh, you were way down. Okay, nice.
I went all over the place with this safari tour. We went all this shoots.
Oh, it was all over? Oh, fun.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun.
My parents didn't know, so that's good.
Yeah, so I guess I will try to do my best to link some of these links down below. Chris can always send me links to help out with that, maybe. Yeah. Otherwise, I guess for everybody else, listeners, viewers, you know, I say this a lot, and I mean it. And I mean, when this comes out, I'm not editing it to make it sound good to a product. This is Chris's story, not mine. I am not going to switch it up to make it sound good or the way I want it, because it's not my story. I just want to get that out of the way, because a lot of things nowadays, you know, like Chris was saying, it gets misproduced, and then you start edited in a way where it's not true, and then you don't really have your credibility anymore. It gets ruined.
You don't lose that. Never lose that.
Don't want to lose that. So the fact that Chris fought hard for Netflix to make it right, to not with the script, is probably the best thing you can ever do for your credibility. Let's just put it there. My final thing is, well, you know the drill, whether you're inside the Green Mountain State or beyond. If you have an interesting story to share with us, you can contact us like always. And until next time, folks, don't do anything stupid. There's always something going on. Make sure you have your head held up high, your noggin in place, because there's so too much things to worry about and less time to get things done that you want to do. Until next time, everybody.